You know, I don't know why we even bother coming down here. Sure, fix the machines, but for what? The only thing I'm collecting are old tapes and Ichor. What even is it? Why are we even collecting it in the first place? I mean, should I have bought something last?
That's right, I'm back with another theory video, and this one I'm surprised no one's really talked about, given how prominent this is within Dandy's world. Now, what is it exactly that I'm talking about? Well, that'd be Ichor. And you know what? I don't feel like this is as fitting as it could be. So, let's get into character. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so exactly what is this theory? Well, that is, what is Ichor? That's a question that we're going to be asking and talking about the entirety of this episode. So, where do we start putting pen to paper when it comes to the concept of what Ichor is and why it is used? So, first, we need to ask, what is the likely options for what Ichor is? I mean, is it fuel? It does come from machines. Could it be used as food? I mean, I doubt anyone would want to eat an ink-like substance, just saying. Well, is it used to make the tunes? What about, it being the blood of tunes or the life essence of the tunes? Maybe it's a symbiote, kind of like venom. But I think the most important question we need to ask, is there a connection to the tapes? If so, what does this mean? And in theory, could a tune be made outside of the studio? If any of you at Blush Crush are watching this, I do have an idea, and I'll make a video dedicated to this fan-made tune concept. I think there's a lot of potential for really good tune to be added to the roster through this, just saying. But to get back on track, what if I told you that the answers might be just within our reach? Literally. Let's start off with the last question. Are the tapes and tunes connected? Now, out of all of the questions about Ichor, why go specifically for the tapes? Well, at first, I just kind of pushed it to the side until I noticed how intertwined the two quite literally are. First, the research vials, which allow you to research tunes, or rather the twisteds, which can be used to unlock more tunes, are literally wrapped in film. And for those of you who are too young to remember them, before CDs, DVDs, and even digital media, VHS cassettes and tapes were the only way to watch and listen anything. And even before that, film reels were used. And inside of each of those media options, there would be a thin sheet of material known as, you guessed it, film, which would have the data on it to be read. And even though it would have had hand-drawn pictures in order to make the film, it would have had to have been photographed for each frame. Now, please note the time frame of Dandy's world is most likely early 1990s, anywhere to around 2000 2005. So digital media did start to become a thing, and the 2D animation space was picking up, so printing the film, I believe, was a thing. Though, on top of this, have you ever noticed that Twisted Dandy has film and tapes wrapped around and seemingly stabbed into his body? And in the roleplay server, you can go behind Dandy's shop and find a tape in a pool of Ichor. So, we've established that there is a connection between the tapes and Ichor. What about the tunes? Well, at first I thought it was obvious before thinking about the tapes. It was blood, life force and creation tool for the tunes. But upon looking in the animations for the Twisteds, there's much more at play. First off, I would like to note a few things. For one, there's different personalities among Twisteds, although there is only a few. Fear and sorrow, insanity or rage, a puppet, or even joy. Examples for each of these different criteria would be Cosmo, Astro, Sprout for sorrow or fear, Toodles, V, Pebbles, and Boxen for insanity or rage, Shelly, Tisha, and Flutter for puppets, while Dandy being the only one that's actually expressing some form of joy. So that's just weird. If it was just life force, then why is it controlling and corrupting the tunes? And why is it that Dandy has control over when he can go over and switch into a Twisted? I mean, even to the point where his pupils become red when you don't buy from him, and he acts like everything is fine later on. So it isn't a symbiote, at least not in that regard. So what exactly am I saying? I think the cartoons for Dandy World were made using Ichor, and because of its power, the tunes were also made using it. Now, this could also mean that due to more exposure, they can be tainted or twisted. Most tunes have some form of notable injury. Examples of this would be Shelly, Glisten, Boxton, Cosmo, and Flutter. All of them very noticeable. But on top of that, when a player gets hit, they bleed Ichor, which would seem to counteract everything about it being a symbiote. And what about the tapes? Now, this could just be lore that needs to be built upon, but Blush Crush, and all of you watching, if this is the case, I think I got you covered. The Ichor is not only making the cartoons and the tunes, but it can also be manipulated and used to control the tunes. Granted, the amount of Ichor needed would depend on the tune, so what exactly happened? Dandy is the puppet master, and where the reason is unclear at this point, he has mastered Ichor and can willingly transform, and has tried to hide the fact that he can. He lashed out attacking the other tunes and maybe even the handlers, and in the attack, overloaded the bleeding tunes with warped Ichor that they made. Hence why in the case of Cosmo and Sprout, their limbs go after them, and a few of the other tunes just aren't home at all. And the core of this manipulation? The tapes. The source of the world and the characters. But why are there so many tapes still on the floor? Well, maybe the crew had tried to rush to conserve the untainted tapes as a sort of cure or a reversal for the tainted Ichor. And on their way deeper into the facility, they got attacked on each step of the way. We do take a cargo elevator with what looks like a repurposed maintenance bellhop to arrive on each floor, with the other elevator being most likely used when the initial attacks happened, eventually getting shut down or used by Dandy to reposition his army of Twisted Toon clones to different floors, intentionally to stop the healthy tunes from getting to the base of operations, hundreds if not thousands of floors below. And what exactly is it that we are doing to warrant such a greeting? Well, we are draining the reserve or buildup of Ichor and inadvertently making more pure tapes. Hence, why there is always a constant supply laying around, and why Dandy is so focused on retrieving them. Maybe a part of it is vanity, but I think the main focus is corruption at this point. So, what do you have to say about that? What does that do? I wonder what that was all about. So, no, it's, huh? Oh, no, go, come on!
Oh, is that my train? Let me out!